it's Raw Selection here, and I'm with Alex and Sean, and today we'll be discussing the search for Blackford Capital. So, Raw Selection has just completed a search for Blackford Capital for a CEO of Mopec. Please can you tell me what challenges you faced while dealing with this?
Yes, multiple challenges with this particular search. The first point of difficulty was the search had been run. I think it had been open for about 3 years and had been run by at least one, maybe even two other executive search firms. Therefore, there's a little bit of, as we call it, mud in the water, but making those approaches, individuals that had already been spoken to, hadn't had the role presented correctly, so there's a little bit of complexity when dealing with the process.
So speaking about challenges, if we think about it, the market was saturated with talent that had already been contacted. As a result, because it's not being positioned properly, people are a little bit cagey to open up to you. But critically, I'm looking for, or rather Raw Selection, was seeking to identify that individual that would relocate to a geographic location that wasn't really desirable. I needed somebody with that exit experience and obviously that revenue growth as well. Again, it's a very niche skill set.
So on top of the location side, we also had the industry. Now, Michigan's not particularly well known for its medical healthcare type focus, and this being a healthcare focused medical manufacturing company that produces capital equipment, the difficulty here was the business didn't have a network of competing similar type businesses in that industry. It's all fragmented. Massachusetts got a huge amount, whereas we need to focus on somebody to be located in Michigan, and that isn't a particular skill set. So we had to consider relocation as part of this process.
Seems like quite a few challenges with this search. It seems also like quite a few areas. What were the particular requirements?
When thinking about particular challenges, I was looking for an individual that was familiar with medical capital equipment, but also consumables, because that was also an existing product line that they had to be familiar with rather.
Yeah, and on top of that, typical process for us with needing private equity backgrounds, with ideally an exit process underneath their belt, and usual strong amount of revenue growth, but also across their career of seeing consistent, this business took EBITDA from X, took it to Y, this business took a business from X, took it to Y on the revenue basis as well. So, which is fairly typical of what we need. We needed somebody to be based on relocated to Michigan, and we needed somebody with I think it was 50+ million in revenue responsibility, who's run that type of business and been through a growth process and taken it towards an exit.
How did you overcome all of these challenges?
Raw Selection has its 15-step process, but it involves very deep market mapping of key talent within a given area. But more than that, it's looking at those that maybe have that blue chip experience, because what you tend to find is that with particular searches, the requirements are very specific. As a result, you'll have to tinker with search parameters.
I think on top of that, it's just about, like with any search for me, it's all about data, and it's all about being able to do the front end part incredibly well on a research basis, and then consistent outreach to these individuals to identify the best possible and the right people into the organisation. I think where possibly the other search firms have gone wrong is they haven't gone after enough of a wide enough talent pool and been able to do that outreach, position the role effectively to them, and then sell on that particular position. So it just comes down to making sure you've got a huge amount of opportunities to reach out to a huge amount of talent pool, and then the right message and the right proposition, putting together the benefits of the role, the benefits of the position, which obviously fundamentally attracted the right individual to secure the role.
So was there a time both of you went above and beyond to secure this candidate?
We knew, so our typical process, I would argue, is above and beyond, but that's, I'm sure every executive search firm would claim that. For us, we knew that this was going to be hard. We knew that there'd been at least two search firms, one or two, that had been on this process before, and therefore ensuring that we could put the significant amount of resource into this process. So we'd already assigned, even before commencing the process, that we were going to put additional people onto the search process to identify these individuals. We were going to ensure that we put together our usual talent engagement pack and made it as best propositioned as we possibly could to sell the opportunity, to sell the business, and really worked on what are the key benefits of working with this organisation. which we would do for every process, but I think we just put more into this particular effort because we knew how difficult this process was going to be because of the fact that this had been open for such a significant amount of time and the firm had done so many searches with this to try and find the right person and not come to a good conclusion.
Going above and beyond for Blackford Capital involved interviewing individuals as fastly as possible, but more to that, asking those difficult questions, whether those pertain to revenue growth, exit experience, and really knuckling down, particularly from an operations perspective, as to why a given talent was a success in a given previous role.
So both of you have completed many searches. Was there anything about this one that particularly surprised you all?
We've done a number of searches, both for Blackford and obviously other private equity firms. Sean led the particular process on identifying candidates. I think the biggest surprise was how difficult this was to find relevant people, both coupled on private equity background, manufacturing knowledge, sold into the healthcare market, and had completed a successful exit, coupled with that, who would relocate to Michigan. I think that's probably the biggest surprise from my perspective of that. But this is the single largest number of people that we've gone through with any search in the history of the firm, probably the history of my career, with regards to the amount of outreach that we did for this particular process. So I suppose what surprised me shouldn't surprise me, was how damn hard this process was.
In terms of surprises for this search, I think it was very labour intensive in a positive way, but what came to light was that a lot of individuals had originally come through the sales route and they lacked the operational experience, so really finding what would be a unicorn in the end, that was really rewarding for the firm.
Because of how big this search was and how many people you've had to outreach to, what are your thoughts on the candidate that was hired?
Well, Francis, very strong profile, strong private equity background, working at a private equity firm, supporting them with deal origination and due diligence on opportunities, but obviously previously worked for both blue chip and SME businesses and grown it. So, I was surprised, previous question, but I was surprised to find somebody with that kind of background, track record and experience, obviously flexible location, that could lead and drive this business. Blackford Capital are typically one of the highest standard firms that we recruit for with regards to criteria of executives coming in, which I absolutely encourage. I think that's the right way to operate. So, Francis has a very impressive background, very impressive track record, and to have the number of exits that he's got, the revenue growth that he's got, I think it makes him an absolutely perfect fit to take this business to an exit in 18 to 24 months.
Francis themselves, a very driven individual, again has the relevant private equity experience, but also that blue chip background, of sound pedigree. They've been a success throughout their career, and those talents that Blackford Capital will leverage will only be successful for them when that exit comes up within 18 months.
This seems to have been a very successful search. Would you both agree, and what would your thoughts be on the search?
A very successful search, yet again, by raw selection. As a result, Blackford Capital do retain raw selection services for their executive hires.
Of course, I'd say yes, we've got the right person for the business. Obviously, that person needs to deliver in the organisation and take this organisation through to a liquidity event. But certainly from a Blackford Capital perspective and from my perspective, I believe it's been incredibly successful to get the right type of person into the business in a short period of time with a huge amount of data, and they know that they've got an exceptional individual to join that company and drive it to a successful exit.
So for anyone watching, how can they get in touch with you if they need help with any more searches or with their private equity companies or portfolio?
Yeah, so Raw Selection works both with private equity firms and portfolio companies, support them with securing executives into both sides. So if anybody is looking as a private equity firm or as an individual looking to score a role into a private equity firm or portfolio company, then please reach out to us at Raw Selection. Website details, information is all on the screen, and happy to support that next process, next step, or next search requirement.
Thank you.